Hamilton First United Methodist. I hope you guys have had a great week. We are going to be in 2 Kings 4, 1 through 7 today. So first of all, I want you to see that I have all these shoes up here on the table. So I want you guys to do a little bit of activity at first. I want you guys to all either go get your favorite pair of shoes, or if you already have shoes on, then that's great. So the first thing I want you guys to do is take your shoes off, or bring your shoes to you and your families. And what you're going to do is you're going to switch shoes. And you're going to talk about and you're going to see if you can actually put your feet inside those shoes. And then you're going to feel those shoes and see what it's like to wear somebody else's shoes. And they could be like your dad's boots, and maybe he's worked hard all day, and maybe they stink a little bit. Maybe they're your mom's heels, and they're really hard to walk on. Maybe they feel good at their tennis shoes, but maybe they're your brother's tennis shoes, and they're a little bit too big. Maybe they're really comfortable Vans, like I have up here. Just go around, switch shoes, and tell each other how it feels like to be in somebody else's shoes. So how was that? Was that fun to be wearing other people's shoes? So sometimes we all have this saying that whenever you're thinking about somebody will say, I wouldn't want to be in their shoes. Or maybe somebody will come up to you and you're kind of judging somebody, and they're like, you don't know what it's like to be in that person's shoes. Well, we're actually going to talk about that today. We're going to be talking about the shoes that we don't want to be in. Maybe those shoes, maybe they're poor, and maybe they're broken down shoes, or maybe they're shoes that they have a different lifestyle than we do. But we're going to talk about the shoes of people that we don't want to be a part of. But the thing about is that we actually need to be helping those people. So we're going to be calling those shoes needy. So God calls us to care for needy people. So we're going to be in 2 Kings 4. So if everybody would please go to that for me. 2 Kings chapter 4. Y'all are doing such a great job reading the Bible with your family. I'm so excited that we have that opportunity to do that. We're going to be in 2 Kings chapter 4, and we're going to be starting in verse 1. Okay. The wife of a man from the groups of prophets said to Elisha, your servant, my husband, is dead. You know he honored the Lord, but now the man he owes money is coming to you to take my 2 boys as his slaves. Elisha answered, how can I help you? Tell me, what do you have in your house? The woman said, I don't have anything there except a pot of oil. Then Elisha said, go and get empty jars from all your neighbors. Don't ask for just a few. Then go into your house and shut the door behind you and your sons. Pour oil into all the jars and set the full ones aside. So she left Elisha and shut the door behind her and her sons. As they brought the jars to her, she poured out the oil. When the jars were full, she said to her son, bring me another jar. Then he said, there's no more jars. Then the oil stopped flowing. She went and told Elisha, and the prophet said to her, go sell the oil and pay what you owe. You or your son can live on what is left. So what Elisha is doing is he's actually helping this widow. And what a widow means is someone that has lost their husband. So back then, whenever your husband passed away due to really traumatic reasons, it was really hard for the woman to still be able to live. And she also had a son with her. Because back then, the man in the house, the husband, was the one that cared for the family and provided for the family. And so whenever a woman was actually left alone with just her, or maybe her and her children, a lot of times it was really hard for her to provide because she probably didn't really have a job. And in this case, she didn't even have enough food. And then also back then, oil was helped to make bread. It was helped to make a lot of your foods. And if you didn't have oil, you couldn't make your dinner. And she didn't even have enough oil to make anything. And so something that we see here is that Elisha gives her enough oil to help sell that oil so she would be able to get money, but also that she'd be able to live on that with her and her son. So Elisha could have just given her money, right? Elisha could have just been like, here's food, but instead he gave her what she needed to be able to to work, to get money, to be able to have an earning, but also he gave her something that she could be able to help provide for her son, so she could be the one to do it, because it probably gave her pride and gave her that confidence that she was able to provide for her son. So maybe her shoes at first, she was writing down, she had probably some shoes that had holes in them. She may not even have shoes at all. So maybe we looked at her and maybe we'd be like, man, I don't want to be in her shoes. I don't want to be without a husband. I don't want to be having to provide for my family. But Elisha saw through that. Elisha saw what she had to go through and saw that she was needy and saw that she needed help. And so what he did is he gave her what she needed rather than what she wanted. So what do you do with a pair of shoes that has holes in them, that maybe they're really, really dirty? What do we normally do with them? We normally throw them away, right? So these are one of my favorite pairs of shoes. They're really, really dirty. They used to be pearly white, and they also have holes on where the pinky toes are. Both of them have. But they're still actually one of the most comfortable shoes, and I still have not thrown them away. But for the most part, whenever we have holes in our shoes, we do throw them away. That we actually just tend to throw them away and get a new pair of shoes, especially for the new year, right? Well, how awesome is that God doesn't throw us away, even maybe when we have holes and maybe we're a little bit dirty, but instead he gives us what we need. And he is such a loving God, and it happens so much in our lives where he gives us things that we need, even when we don't ask for them sometimes, or maybe we're at a breaking point and we feel like, God, I have to have this. Maybe we feel like we don't have any friends. Maybe we feel like we're just angry all the time, or maybe there's times that are really, really hard, and God just happens to give us exactly what we need at the right time. And that's what we see that Elisha did to this widow. He gave her exactly what she needed at exactly the right time. She was broken. She didn't have a husband, and she couldn't provide for her son, but she was able, the oil was multiplied in our lives. And God multiplies in our lives too whenever we need something. And he does that because he loves us and because we are his children. So how do you become his children? And the answer to that is that you believe in him. You believe that Jesus came to this earth as a little baby, and that he died on the cross and he rose on the third day, and that he was risen up into heaven, and that the Holy Spirit is what helps comfort us and guides us as we ask Jesus to come into our lives. So whenever we do this, God is going to take care of us. He's going to give us what we need because he loves us and because we are his children. Just like the widow was able to provide for her child, God provides for us. So if God provides for us, the least we can do is help provide for people around us, whether that's our friends, whether that's people that we see that need things. I always say, look for what that person needs. Sometimes I think in what we do is we just assume someone needs clothes, or we just assume that homeless people need food, but instead God puts us in our hearts that they may need something that we have. Maybe they need us to talk to them. Maybe they need us to share this scripture. We don't always need to give people possessions. Sometimes it's a smile to people. Sometimes it's sharing the gospel. It's so important to ask Jesus, hey, what does that person need, rather than just assuming that person needs possessions or food. So as you guys are with your families, just think of some awesome ways to share to the needy, to help others, but also just know that God cares for you because he loves us. I have 2 discussion questions for you guys. The first one is, if you were to trade places for one day in your life with anybody, so trade shoes with anybody, who would it be and why? Okay, so that was the first question. The second discussion question is, this is outside of your group, okay? So this is nobody that's in your group. Who would you not want to trade places with and walk in that person's shoes, and why? And put a twist on that question is, well, maybe there's a reason why, and what can you do to help that person? Because most of the time when we don't want to be in somebody else's shoes, it's probably the person that we really should be helping, or maybe it's the one that needs extra attention, or maybe it's the one that needs to be shown God's love. So that's are the questions that I have for you guys. I hope you guys had a good week, and don't forget to go watch the services. We have our modern and our traditional. Go on our Facebook page and also our YouTube to watch. We will have the links ready for you guys. So enjoy and happy Sunday.